Hello, everyone. Happy Wednesday to you. I hope you're having a wonderful day. I'm doing a video today about confronting hypocritical behavior or hypocrites, especially religious hypocrites, and also general confronting. Sometimes the Bible always talks about speaking truth in love. With grace and kindness. Sometimes there needs to be firmness in our speech when it has gotten out of hand, still in love, but still with firmness. And so I'm going to read out of Luke 11, starting in verse 37, with Jesus talking to the Pharisees who were hypocrites. So it starts in 11, verse 37. As Jesus was speaking, one of the Pharisees invited him home for a meal. So he went in and took his place at the table. His host was amazed to see that he sat down to eat without first performing the hand-washing ceremony required by Jewish custom. Then the Lord said to him, "You Pharisees are so careful to clean the outside of the cup and the dish, but inside you're filthy, full of greed and wickedness. Fools! Didn't God make the inside as well as the outside? So clean the inside by giving gifts to the poor, and you will be clean all over." So stopping right there. So basically, often if you go through the Gospels and when Jesus was confronting the Pharisees, sometimes they said things verbally to him, and many other times he read their thoughts, and it will say he knew their thoughts or he knew what they were thinking. So it doesn't specifically say whether the person said something about him doing this ceremonial cleansing, or it could have been that he read their thoughts of what they were thinking about him. Also, Jesus could have purposefully not done the cleansing because it was an opportunity to confront them also. So basically, they're so worried about what they look like on the outside, the good Christian or the good religious leader, but on the inside, they're completely filthy. And that is what a hypocrite is. Fake, totally hypocritical, judging others for, being the same way that, we would be. And so he's telling them he knows their heart. Obviously, he's God. He's saying they're full of greed and wickedness. And then he, really gets on and calls them fools. And he's saying that they need to clean the inside and, instead of just worrying about the outside. And so obviously, and he's talking about backing it up with giving gifts to the poor, because basically we all know that salvation comes through Jesus Christ alone, and then works follow. And so when we have a true transformation, our works should follow with a completely changed life. And so then going on, he says, "What sorrow awaits you, Pharisees? For you are careful to tithe even the tiniest income from your herb gardens, but you ignore justice and the love of God. You should tithe, yes, but do not neglect the more important things." So right here, they're all about being absolutely the minutia of the law. And in fact, they had added way more law than the written law of God. It was man-made or oral traditions that they were putting burdens on the people and keeping people oppressed, like, oh, we can never do all this stuff. And we're right, we can't do it. We need the grace of Jesus Christ. And he's telling them, he's not excusing tithing. Noticing he says, yes, go ahead and tithe. They're tithing for the wrong reason. And another part, he talks about that they tithe so they didn't have to take care of their aging parents, saying, oh, they didn't have enough money. They were giving it to the Lord. So basically, he's saying, do not neglect the important things like mercy, love, forgiveness, kindness, help, compassion, those types of things. Then he goes on and says again, "What sorrow awaits you, Pharisees? For you love to sit in the seats of honor in the synagogues and receive respectful greetings as you walk in the marketplaces. Yes, what sorrow awaits you, for you are like hidden graves in a field. People walk over them without knowing the corruption that they're stepping on. So stopping right there. So he's constantly saying, woe, and what sorrow awaits you, and it's eternal condemnation unless they are saved by Jesus Christ, repent, and come to faith in him, and then their life is changed from the inside out. And so they love the honor, they love the greetings of respect, and he's comparing them to hidden graves. Have you ever been in a cemetery that was so old that you were walking around and you didn't even know you were stepping on a grave? He's giving that allegory that underneath, everything, looks fine on the outside, but there's deadness on the inside. And obviously, we don't want to be dead like that. We don't want to appear Christian and be dead inside and dead in works. And then he says in verse 45, teacher, said an expert in the religious law, you have insulted us too in what you just said, which I think is comical almost because, and that's the point of my video today, he had to have strong words with them because that is what they needed. Notice that he didn't have strong words with the sinners, the ones who knew they were sinners, the prostitutes, the tax collectors, and so forth. He actually, because they knew they were. See, the religious ones were like, oh, we're great on the outside. It's all about works. So he did have to insult them. Sometimes we have to be firm with loved ones or people that we know that are in a deep sin. And, we've tried to approach it in a certain way. And sometimes they just need a firm, speaking to. And that's in love, because if we didn't love them, we wouldn't say anything. And then he says, yes, said Jesus, when he says, you're insulting us. What sorrow awaits you, experts in religious law, for you crush people with unbearable religious demands and you never lift a finger to ease the burden. And that's just like what I was talking about, putting all of these extra religious burdens on the people where they feel like, I can't do that. Okay. And it's true. They can't. What sorrow awaits you, for you build monuments for the prophets that your own ancestors killed long ago. But in fact, you stand as a witness who agree with what your ancestors did. They killed the prophets and you join in their crime by building the monuments. This is what God in his wisdom said about you. I will send prophets and apostles to them, but they will kill some and persecute the others. And so I'm going to end it there today. I'm not going to read the rest of it. So, it's funny because he said that religious teacher says, oh, you're insulting us. And he says, yes, I am insulting you. He's telling them the truth, and he's telling them the truth in love. He's not doing it to be mean or cold-hearted or like we see people do today to hurt someone. He's telling everything God does, he does it out of love because he is love. He's telling them in love because they need to know the truth. And so if we love people, first we need to, pray about the situation. We need to make sure that we are, before we try to remove the speck in our brother's eye, we don't have a plank in our own, and make sure that we're fine, okay? And then confess and, deal with that. And also confronting them, the correct biblical way, coming to them with another brother or sister to confront them. And, seeing if they repent. And sometimes it takes firmness. And in fact, as you go into other sections of the Bible, Acts and so forth, it even talks about bringing people into the front of the church for excommunication at a certain point if they absolutely refuse to stop the sin. God is serious about sin and confronting it. So I think this is a good warning for us today to make sure we're not dead bones inside of us. We're not the people aren't walking over us and we're filthy inside, but we look good on the outside, to take stock of ourselves and ask for forgiveness if we have been hypocrites. I hope that everyone has a wonderful day, and I will see you on Friday.